And just like that, it ended. Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. I wasn't planning to watch And Just Like That tonight. But because I was going to get Binge, which is a service that's streaming on in Australia, after a few weeks and just sort of do it all in 1 month. That's sort of what I do. I just get a service for a month, watch Binge whatever I want, and then go to the next one. I don't sort of have them ongoing. I just switch between them. But I saw a story on ET where they were talking about the resolution of the Samantha issue, and they said that the series dropped today, and I'm like, oh, so they dropped the whole season. I'm like, okay, I think I'll just get Binge and do the whole thing in one day. So I thought that's fine. And then after the second episode, they showed the little trailer where Sarah Jessica's saying hi, and then they showed the actual trailer, and I'm like, that's a bit weird having these in the middle of the episodes, but okay. And then they showed the hello from Sarah again. I'm like, oh, does that mean there's no more episodes? And I looked and they only dropped the first two, and I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, Entertainment Tonight, get your information straight. So yeah, I didn't check it. So now I don't want to say I'm glad that they killed Big, but I was wondering what the show was going to be about, because I thought either Big drops a divorce on her or he dies. That's the only way they're going to have an interesting story worthy of either a movie, which this was originally supposed to be. We had heard he died in the shower, and then I don't appreciate the actors lying and saying that he wasn't dying and that he was in the show. They should have said nothing. To actually lie and mislead the audience, I don't appreciate that, because I was sort of thinking, what is the show going to be about? If they don't get divorced or he doesn't die, I figure they must get a divorce, because if he doesn't die, that's the only other thing that would change her life enough to warrant another chapter, basically. And like I said, to warrant a movie, because originally this was going to be the third movie. It was, so yeah, it was sad. I found the second episode really sad. I mean, I was grieving my parents, and then we had the coronavirus and the lockdown for like 2 years, basically. So I'm totally lost in my life. So I'm kind of curious. I kind of am welcome to this show about this woman who is now lost in her life. Like she said, what do I do now? What do I do next? Like, where do you go from your whole life changing? And obviously she had plans to be with him. And what does she do now? I need a bit of inspiration. I need a bit of motivation. Like, I was just talking to a friend who messaged me, and I started the video. I stopped it because I didn't turn my phone off, and I asked what he was doing, and he told me his whole plans. He said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't have a single plan. Do not have a single plan. I don't just mean this weekend, this week. I mean at all. I have no idea what I'm doing, what's next." So I'm kind of welcoming this show, because it's very where I am in my life at the moment, and probably a lot of people are. There are a lot of 700,000 in America who lost a family member due to COVID. So, and lockdowns affected a lot of people. So I think there are a few people who are sort of sitting in a place of, where do I go next and what do I do next? So the show could be very good and meaningful. Part of me is glad they're doing separate episodes, because it's going to last a while. But I was like, okay, where's my season? Where are my other episodes? But it does make it easier to just talk about these two episodes than try and summarize the whole series. But yeah, the first episode is just them going about their lives. I mean, Lily's musical performance was amazing. Basically, Sarah, I was going to say Sarah Jessica Parker. Carrie puts off going away to the Hamptons with Big for a night so she can go to Charlotte's daughter's recital. Big doesn't want to go. He stays home. He works out on his exercise bike, and he has a heart attack. And he holds on just long enough for her to get home, and then he basically goes once she's there. And she hasn't broken yet. She set up the funeral and everything, and she hasn't really cracked yet. Kind of like when she had a Mexicoma after the wedding didn't happen the first time. She didn't really crack for a while. But they did a good job of it. They did a good job with Samantha. Basically, because that's the first thing. The first scene is Bitsy von Bueller is like, "Where's the other musketeer?" And they're like, "Oh, she's not with us anymore." And no, she didn't die of COVID. she moved to the UK, and then later when Miranda's talking, Miranda and Carrie are talking, basically she fired her as her publicist because she didn't need one anymore because she wasn't writing and all this, and she took it really personal or something, and it was really weird because she's saying, what was I, just a check to her, like so they haven't resolved this issue. She went to London for work and they haven't spoken. She hasn't been answering any of their messages, but after Big dies, she arranges a funeral. There were no flowers, and this giant beautiful wreath shows up, and she's trying to decide, do I keep it or not, and the ladies give her the note and it says, love, Samantha. So she decided, okay, even though I wasn't going to have flowers, it doesn't match the look and what I was going for, it means something, so they kept it. So there's a little bit of hope that they could, still be friends later on, but we will probably never see Kim Cattrall in the series, but that's okay. That can happen later. Now, the new actors coming in, the new characters, very interesting. There was a moment where while the new characters came in and they were all having brunch or something, and Carrie and Miranda left, and she sat down with Charlotte, and I'm like, I just feel like the main actors just left, like for the new one, but then she was gone in a few seconds anyway. Charlotte's been pretty funny. She's been crying more than Carrie because she feels responsible, because had she not been at the recital, they could have had a different turn of events. He might not have had the heart attack, but he probably would have, just somewhere else. Yeah, and Miranda and Charlotte are taking turns staying with Carrie in her apartment. Stanford was fighting with Mario Cantone. I've forgotten the character's name. So they're trying to be more appreciative. The only thing I don't like is the kids. They actually had like a sex scene with the 17-year-old boy and his girlfriend, which was at the very start of the second episode. So right after you're absorbing and just like that, Big died. The credits don't even finish. They cut them off during the music, which I always hated about Netflix, but apparently Binge does it too. And then they go straight into that, and I'm like, what? Were they desperate for like some sort of semi-nudity and sex in the episode because they're not going to have any of the main characters do it because it's not their part and Samantha's gone? It felt really gratuitous and weird, but it really was just over in a minute, and then it was just Miranda and that talking about the fact that, are you hearing this? And that's when they get the call that Biggs died. So aside from that, the episodes are pretty flawless. I'm enjoying it. I'm wondering where they're going to go with it. I'm glad they did this because it is such a big thing. Divorce is as well, and divorce is like a death anyway. So one of these two things had to happen, and I'm curious to see how they do this and where she goes with this, because I'm kind of wondering where I'm going to go for my life, and I'm kind of hoping for some inspiration here because I really have no idea what I do post-COVID, and COVID hasn't quite ended for me yet because I just got my booster and it hasn't even soaked in yet. And I have no plans before Christmas. I have no family plans at Christmas because my family has nothing to do with me. I have no plans with friends. I have no idea what I'm doing next year and with the rest of my life. So I know I'll be watching this series for another 8 weeks, but assuming they do an episode a week. First episode was great. Glad they did what they did. I saw it coming because I thought we only saw a couple of scenes with him, and one was on the exercise bike, and she wasn't with him. I'm like, okay. And then you start to see the scene unroll, and you're just waiting for him to die. I felt a bit ghoulish because you're just waiting for him to die. And it's like, yes, I knew it. This is what we're doing with the series. It is about something. But then you see her reaction, you realise, oh my God, Carrie's husband just died, Big just died. It was good. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. I know everyone was shocked, and I'm like, I was only a little surprised because they lied, and I sort of thought, well, they must just get divorced and he can't die. And I'm guessing maybe the actor didn't want to die, he wanted to be in the rest of the series, and maybe they just thought, well, the divorce is a big enough event and it doesn't have to be so grim and that. But I'm glad they went there. They've gone grim, they're taking it seriously, and I'm curious to see how they do it. They've done it so far pretty well. That's it. Don't have anything else. I'm going to go. Bye.